السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Hello everybody, hello my dear students. I wish all of you are in a good health and safe. Hey, we will continue our IT auditing syllabus. As you know, in the previous or in the previous lectures or before in the midterm. Before the midterm exam, okay, if it was taken, you already learned how to audit how to audit continuously by topic of continuous auditing. The second one web trust and sys trust. So we will continue our syllabus for the other services provided by the CBFR. Okay. As you know, that we have many services provided by the CBA firm or external auditor, which classified in two categories: assurance services and non-assurance services. I will explain firstly our plan for the current and the following lectures. Okay, I will talk about certain services provided by CBA firm. In particular, review of historical financial statements, examination of forecasted or proposed or projected financial statements. This book, the first part of our syllabus after midterm. I will end our lectures by explaining audit command language program. Okay, how to use information technology, how to use that audit command language program to prepare the audit plan, to identify the size, to identify the missing parts, to identify the fraud or errors in accounting records. Okay, our lectures will be divided into two types. Okay, the first part of our lectures will explain some services provided by the external auditor, and I will focus only on review and examination of forecasted financial statements. Okay, as you know, review as a part of attestation services, as I will explain it in more details. Okay, how to review the financial statements, how to prepare the audit report or a review report by the CBFR. The second part of our lectures, I will try to explain audit command language program. Okay, how to use this program to identify the size sample size, how to identify the missing items, okay, and detect fraud and accounting records, especially in case of the company use the computerized program such as or based on or Excel sheet or based in any other databases. Okay. First of all, as you know, CBA firm provided many types of services, which classified into two categories. The first one, assurance services and non-assurance services. Assurance services, as you know, from the previous lectures or the first semester. Okay, assurance services divided into two types or two categories: attestation services and other assurance services. Attestation services contains audit, okay, audit of historical financial statement, review of historical financial statement, internal control over financial reporting, okay, under assumption the external auditor or CBA firm that can ask us to conduct internal control or to evaluate internal control over financial reporting as a standalone services. Okay, as you know, the auditor may evaluate internal control structure over preparing financial statements, okay, through conducting the audit of historical financial statements. At the same time, the management may ask the external auditor to evaluate internal control structure as a standalone services. Okay, so the one of attestation services, internal control over financial reporting. The third type or fourth type of attestation services on information technology. Okay, I think in the first part of this semester, okay, you already learned how to conduct that attestation services concerning to information technology, for example, web trust, sys trust, and continuous auditing. Also, assurance services includes other assurance services. Okay, non-assurance services contains that management consultation or management consulting, accounting, and the bookkeeping. Okay, plus consultation provided by the CBA to management in addition to tax services. Okay, so that we can classify the services provided by the CBA firm into two categories: assurance and non-assurance services. According, as I mentioned before, our lectures will focus on I will focus on review of financial statement and examination of financial statement as a part of assurance services. Okay, let's start by the first one, how to differentiate between the review of historical financial statements and audit of financial statements. In general, review of historical financial statements, which already differ from audit of financial statements in many cases. The first one, the first difference between review and audits. Okay, review of historical financial statements would be considered as a limited assurance. Okay, as you know, all audits services provided to publicly or non-publicly traded companies, okay, will provide the author, once the author expresses opinion, the author will provide a reasonable assurance. Okay, but reasonable assurance would be considered as a positive assurance. But under review of historical financial statements, the author will provide limited assurance, not a reasonable assurance. Okay, or a negative assurance. Okay, will be considered as a negative assurance, not a positive assurance. Okay, that means the review of historical financial statements would be considered as lower than the audit of historical financial statements. Lower any lower in many items, lower audits, lower in accumulating evidence, lower on evidence received received from the clients, okay, to express his opinion, okay, lower in planning, but lower in evaluating the effectiveness of internal control structure. The review will based on certain evidence instead of use all types of evidence, as we will see later in more details. Anyway, that we will focus on review of financial or review of historical financial statements by providing limited assurance. Okay. Also, I will explain the examination, okay, or examining assurance services provided by the CPA firm. Okay, it's an examination for forecasted financial statements. As you know, according to the annual report which already prepared by the management includes many information. Some of this information will be considered as a financial, the other non-financial. Okay, historical data and forecasted data at the same time. Okay, if you read annual reports which are already provided by any company or any publicly traded company, you will see the management may prepare forecasted or projected financial statements. Okay, as you know, that I'm not sure that I cannot believe, or the stakeholders couldn't believe that management's assertions concerning to forecasted or projected financial statements. So we need an external auditor. We need an independent auditor. Okay, to assure that this forecasted data or this that expected or projected financial statements, it's more accurate, more relevant, more reliable. It's already contains the characteristics or qualitative characteristics of financial statements in general. So we need to examine this assurance. We need to examine this forecasted financial statements by independent person. Okay. So, according to our syllabus, I will focus on two types of services provided by the external auditor: review of historical financial statements services, okay, and examination of forecasted financial statements provided by the management. Okay. Also, I will talk about the review compilation and preparation services. Okay, but in review compilations and preparation in general, the review services may be provided to public public companies or non-public companies. But in general, compilation services or preparation services of financial statements in general provided by the CBA firm to non-public companies. But review of financial statements may be provided to public companies, okay, or non-public public companies. فكرة الكوربريشن اللي هي already registers بوكنا او ان هي already بتبقى بنسميها publicly traded companies, okay, or non-publicly traded companies. Whatever about non-publicly, that can be family companies or any other types of companies. Anyway, many non-public companies can have they're booking financial statements, okay, but in general, non-public companies or the stakeholders of non-public companies is lower than the stakeholders booking of corporation or publicly traded companies. Sure. Okay, so that in general, that non-publicly companies, non-publicly companies doesn't need to review or doesn't need to audit the financial statements. So it's better to use the review of financial statements. In general, that would be to review their financial statements based on the request by the creditors, especially looking at of non-public companies, may want to receive that loan from bank. So the bank will ask the non-public companies to provide audited financial statements or at least reviewed financial statements. So looking at the review services may be provided to non-public companies. Okay, so the non-public companies can have their financial statements may be reviewed, compiled that or prepared by the CPA firm instead of them being audited. Okay, instead of them being audited. Also, the company's management may believe that an audit is unnecessary because there is no stakeholders, okay, concerning to interested in that non-public company's financial information, okay, but it is necessary to audit the financial statement, except but already we have one exception. In case of non-public companies wants to receive a loan from bank, the bank will ask the non-public companies to provide reviewed financial statements or audited financial statements by the CPA firm at this. Okay, so that companies management may believe that an audit is unnecessary because no bank or regulators agency requires one, and the management see no need for audited financial statements, and there is no economic demand for auditing. Okay, there is no stakeholders for non-public companies or lower than corporation. At the same time, that non-public company needs to prepare the financial statements. Okay, who can prepare the financial statements for non-public company? Non-public company may ask the CPA firm to prepare or compile financial statements or prepare the financial statements. So these companies may engage the CPA firm to assist in the preparation of financial statements, either for internal user or for to provide to creditors such as a bank or wherever. Anyway, we have many services may be provided by CPA firm. For example, review, compilation, and preparation services. Compilation services or preparation services of financial statements may be, in general, will be provided to non-public companies, but review services may be provided to non-public companies and the public companies also. Okay, under that may be called an interim financial statement, as we will see later in more details. Anyway, in case of non-public companies receiving review services as a request by the creditors, okay, the creditors may ask the non-public companies to provide reviewed financial statements rather than conducting the audit. It depends on the size of loan. Okay, if the size of loan is very large, okay, that means that the creditors may ask the company to provide audited financial statements instead of reviewed financial statements as a general. Okay, a review services, okay, will provide a limited assurance, as I mentioned before, on the financial statements. Okay, but compilation services or preparation of financial statements, the author will prepare the financial statement. The author author does not need to express his opinion, okay, to identify whether the financial statements are fair represented, or still in accordance with applicable financial reporting standards, for example, IFRS or GAAP, okay, how to prepare the financial statement, at the same time review the same information which provided by the same CPA firm. It's unlogic, okay, to express opinion or to express assurance, okay, whatever limited or reasonable on financial statements which are already prepared by the same CPA firm. So a review provides limited assurance of the financial statements, while the compilation services or preparation of financial statement, there is no the auditor will not provide that any expressions or any expression of opinion or expressive assurance. So, other non-public companies entity may engage CPA firm to prepare the financial statement or compile financial statement without audit this financial statements. It's unlogic, okay, to prepare and compile financial statement at the same time review or audit the same information. Anyway, as you know, that to conduct the audit, okay, we have many standards, okay, but now we have that auditing standards which are already issued by AICPA, American Certified Public Accountant, or الفرقة, the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, who's responsible for issuing the audits, who's responsible for issuing the audit standards, okay, that will be considered as a criteria or a guidelines to external output to conduct the audit. At the same time, for reviewing services, or for compilation or preparation services, okay, the author needs a standard, needs a criteria, okay, to conduct the review of historical financial statements. Okay, our standards that will be used by as a guidelines will be used by the external auditor to prepare, compile, or review financial statements, which are already called statements on standards for accounting and review services. يبقى هنا الauditor to conduct the review services or to conduct the compilation service or to prepare financial statements, okay, needs standards, needs a guidelines to conduct the services, okay. According to the review, compilation, and preparation, the author should follow statements on standards for accounting and review service standards, okay, which are already issued by Accounting and Review Services Committee of AICPA, American Institute of Certified Public Accountant. This committee has authority to issue statements on standards to as a guidelines for external auditor to review or compile financial statements. Okay, Solberg's committee has authority equivalent to auditing standard for services involving unaudited financial statement of non-public companies in particular. Okay, also they are not doing audits. Okay, under statements on standards for accounting and the review service. Okay, that will be used only to review or compile or preparation of financial statements by the external auditor or CPA firm or accountant or wherever, okay, but not auditors, okay, not for conducting the audit of financial statements. Definitely, لما تيجي تعمل an audit of financial statements, to conduct the audit of financial statements, you already have the standards which issued by auditing standard code. Okay, but to prepare or to prepare financial statements or compile financial statements or to review financial statements, we need other guidelines. Okay, but our other guidelines would be considered as statements on standards for accounting and review services. Okay. Also, as I mentioned before, the review should already differ from audit the financial statements. Review will provide limited assurance, negative assurance, but audit of financial statements will provide reasonable assurance, will provide positive assurance. Okay, so size that sample size, that number of evidence, amount of evidence, sufficiency of evidence. Okay, sure, but will be differ from the review or audit of financial statements. So, according to the assurance provided in preparation and completion or review engagements, it's considerably below that of audits, lower than booking the audits. Okay, so booking this evidence will be accumulated, less evidence will be evaluated, booking and required to conduct the review services. According to this graph this graph presents with the relationship between evidence accumulation and the assurance attained. The assurance attained limited or reasonable, limited with the positive or negative assurance. As you see, according to this graph, okay, the vertical line contains the level of assurance attained. Okay, for completion and preparation, there is no opinion already expressed by the internal expressed by the CBA firm. Okay, according to prepare the financial statements, there is no opinion, but that's not concerning to financial statements. So that will be considered 0 or none as a level of assurance, no level of assurance. Okay, review is limited, audits it's high, high level of assurance attained based on this vertical, okay, vertical line. With regard to that horizontal line, which contains the amount of evidence accumulated. Okay, how many evidence will be accumulated under completion of preparation financial statements. We don't need to accumulate any evidence. The auditor just prepared the financial statements. The CBA firm just concerned as accountants. Okay. In preparing the financial statement, so there is no need to accumulate any evidence. It's based on the review. The auditor will accumulate evidence, okay, and will be considered as significant evidence. Okay, will accumulate some of evidence, sure, to express his opinion. Okay, to provide his limited assurance, okay, concerning to the financial statement, to identify whether the financial statements are stated already in accordance with applicable financial reporting standards, the applicable financial reporting framework, wherever booking standards, US GAAP or IFRS. Okay. According to the audits, okay, the evidence must be extended. Okay, the extensive evidence must be evaluated and accumulated according to the audit of financial statements. According to this graph, that represents the relationship between evidence accumulation, how many evidence will be accumulated, and assurance attained. Okay, as you see, we have a positive relationship between the services provided, okay, as completion, as review, or audit, okay, and with the level of assurance. Okay, this is the difference between review, completion, and audit based on the level of assurance and types of evidence or amount of evidence to be accumulated and evaluated. Okay, firstly, let's talk about review services in more details. Okay, review services, which are really based on standard statements on standards for accounting and review services engagements, okay, which allow the accountant to express his opinion. But unfortunately, his opinion would be limited assurance. Okay, to identify whether the financial statements are stated in accordance with applicable financial reporting or any other comprehensive basis of accounting, wherever the criteria that will be used to evaluate the fairness of financial statements. So CBA firm, okay, or CBA or external auditor must be independent of the client for review service engagement. Okay, and sure, the CBA firm must be independent as conducting the audit. Well, we have similarities between the review services, okay, service engagement, and conducting the audit of financial statements. The CBA firm must maintain his independence of the client. Review services. What type of procedures or what type of evidence would be accumulated? So the procedures or scope of booking service will be based on two types of evidence to be accumulated: inquiries, document of management, and analytical procedures. That's mean review services will focus on two types of two types of evidence. Okay, inquiries of management plus analytical procedures. That means other types of services, for example, physical accounts of inventory, confirmation of receivable, test of control, test of substantive test of control, substantive test of transaction. Okay, as conducted in audits. Okay, will not be used in review services. So that's mean in the review services, the CPA firm for review services, in the CPA firm or the external auditor will focus only on two types of evidence: inquiries, booking of management, and analytical procedures. Okay, so as you see, substantially fewer procedure than those required for an audit. Okay, for review, accountants don't obtain an understanding of internal control. Sure, he needs to evaluate and understand internal control, but not at the same of that conducting the audit. Okay, test control, assess for risk, or conducting substantive test of transactions, test of balances, such as confirmation of receivable or physical examination of inventory. All this evidence will be lower, okay, or may be omitted for reviewing for review services or reviewing historical financial statements. That means because the author only will focus on two types of evidence: inquiries of management and analytical procedures. The statements on standard for accounting and review services requirements. Okay, to obtain requirements to obtain evidence. Okay, and conduct the review and engagements. Okay, will include the first one: obtain agreement on engagement terms. Okay, as if you remember, okay, the first step to conduct the audit, okay, the auditor will accept the client. Okay, but before accepting the client, the author will receive a letter or engagement letter. The author will receive engagement letter. Okay, this engagement letter contains with that the objectives of audit at the same time. Okay, in case of the author receive an engagement letter to review the financial statement. So in engagement letter, the objectives of reviewing the financial statements or reviewing financial statement must be clear. Okay, the objectives of reviewing financial statements must be clear. Okay, the author also in engagement letter will provide will provide his plan to review the financial statement and maybe discuss with the top management or those charged with governance. Okay, so first of all, the first step to accept the review engagements, the author will receive the agreement or obtain the agreements on engagement terms by receiving the engagement letter. Okay, as conducting the audit. The second requirement, okay, for reviewing the financial statements, the author will obtain knowledge of the accounting principles and the practice of the client's industry. If you remember, to prepare the audit plan, okay, the auditor should understand the business client, the business that the client's business and industry. Okay, identify the rest of this which related to this industry. Okay, which type of industry. Okay, which practices will be used in the industry. Okay, yeah. For example, we can differentiate between accounting principles or accounting methods which are already used in long-term construction or construction firm, or which already differ from other standards or accounting practices, principles. Okay, and the practices which are already used by the other type of companies. Okay, it's based on the nature of the business. Okay, construction firm will use certain certain principles or accounting principles may be differ from other services. May be differ from other practices or accounting standards which are already used by merchandising firm or manufacturing firm. So the author should obtain knowledge of the accounting principle which is already used, okay, and the practices of that client's industry, okay, to prepare the audit plan or review plan. Okay, so booking accountant can study AICPA booking industry guidelines, okay, or guides that booking other sources to obtain industry knowledge. Okay, so the level of knowledge for review can be somewhat less than for auditor. Looking as you know, looking at review services or review of historical financial statements will be lower than the audit in all cases. Lower in planning, looking at lower that looking in accumulating evidence, lower in types of evidence to be accumulated. Okay, lower is looking in evaluating the effectiveness of internal control structure. That looking lower in conducting looking the review. That looking lower in assessment of risk. That looking also that looking lower lower the level of knowledge to industry or accounting principles which are already used by the auditee or reviewed review. Okay. The third requirements by the statements of standards, obtaining booking knowledge of the clients. Okay, booking the author should understand the industry of the clients and also booking will know the client well. But by evaluating that, by identifying the accounting principles, accounting practice used by the client, evaluating its evaluating its effect, its internal control effectiveness. Okay, evaluate that or understand the clients in general. Okay, and accumulate book knowledge that knowledge of the clients in general. Okay, the nature of his industry. Okay, booking transactions conducted by the clients. Okay, the ownership structure and so on. Okay, so booking the author. The author will obtain the knowledge of that client. This information should be accumulated, okay, concerning to the nature of the business and the transactions, its ownership structure, key personnel, accounting records, booking and employees, booking accounting principles, and so on. Also, that knowledge or the level of knowledge can be less than for an audit, as I mentioned before. The fourth requirements make inquiries of management. Okay, booking as I mentioned also before, the inquiries the most important review procedures. Okay, so booking the auditor should make inquiries with booking of management. Okay, now and management we have been answers. Okay, to evaluate the fairness of financial statements. Okay, evaluate booking the effectiveness of internal control. To understand the industry, to understand the clients, that accounting principles or practice, and so on. Okay, for example, that of inquiries. The first one, describe, made booking the author asked that the management to describe the accounting standards framework used. Okay, to develop the financial statements, to prepare the financial statements. Okay, which procedures will be used, which records will be used. Okay, how to classify the financial, how to classify the transactions, summarize the transactions. Okay, how to disclose the information, the financial statement, and so on. Okay, that's been booking the author may ask the management to describe the accounting standards or principles will be used to prepare the financial statement. The other example, what unusual or significant transactions occurred this year? May the booking CPA firm asking the management to identify unusual items or unusual transactions, okay, during the current period, okay, to identify unusual transactions which already these items would be considered booking as booking for area. Okay, so booking it's so important for so important to be identified by the external author in reviewing or conducting the audit financial statements about what unusual or significant transactions occurred between this year, including important actions taken at meeting of stakeholders or wherever. The other question that is each booking accounts on the financial statements prepared in conformity with accounting standards and consistently applied or not. Okay, do you have acknowledged that kind of actual or suspected fraud? Okay, communications booking from regulatory agency and so on. Booking is just example of inquiries booking management which are already made by the external auditor to evaluate that or to understand the clients, to understand the accounting practice that's used to prepare the financial statement. The next requirements that advise the standard statements on standards. Okay, for accounting and under review services, the author will perform analytical procedures. Okay, as I mentioned before, the main two types that of evidence. Okay, the first one requires management, the second one performing analytical procedures. Analytical procedures to identify unusual or potential areas for frauds. Okay, to identify unusual items and which already and consider as a potential area for fraud based on accounting understanding of industry and the knowledge of the clients. Okay, the accountant or the external auditor design and perform analytical procedures which used to identify the unusual items. So the appropriate analytical procedure are not differ from the ones that already used in conducting the audits. Okay, as a test of details of panels, the same item, same comparisons. Okay, wherever this comparison for items presented in income statement or financial position or wherever. Okay. Also, unusual trend are noted. Okay, accounts engage in the further inquiries. Okay, why this unusual trends already given or already exhausted in company. So the management should justify these unusual trends. Okay, so unusual trends are noted. The accountant engages in further inquiries with the client personnel to obtain explanation or justification for unexpected relationships. Okay. The next requirement: read the financial statements. The author also will read the financial statements to identify whether the financial statements required any modifications or the financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework, GAS or IFRS or other bases of accounting or other comprehensive bases of accounting. Okay. The next requirement: reconcile the financial statements to underlying accounting records. Made the financial statements required reconciliation. So the accountant should obtain evidence that the financial statements agreed or need reconciling with accounting records. Okay, made that financial statements or accounting record need reconciliation to be presented fairly in accordance with applicable financial reporting. The next requirement: obtain letter of representation. The accountant is required also to obtain a letter of representation from members of management who are knowledgeable about financial matters. So the author will receive that letter of representation from knowledgeable personnel in the company. The next: prepared documentation. Also, the auditor will prepare his documentation. Okay, but the documents which includes letter of representation, engagement letter, okay, types of evidence that already accumulated to review the financial statements, any other evidence accumulated to express or to form his opinion concerning to the fairness of financial statements. So the accountant should prepare documentation that is sufficient in details to provide a clear understanding of his work. Okay, the review evidence obtained and its sources. Okay, the conclusion reached. Documentation also should include the engagement letter, analytical procedures, performance, significant matters covered inquiries with the management, significant findings with the and assured communication with management or other regarding possible fraud and other representation letters as I mentioned before. So the third documentation is the responsibility of auditor. Okay, to identify or to make his work more clear and how to form his opinion. Okay, to be expressed in review reports. Okay, to identify whether the financial statements are fairly presented or the required any modifications to be fairly presented. These procedures ordinarily provide a reasonable base for obtaining limited assurance. Okay, but in the procedures, okay, but in which already conducted by the auditor, okay, that would be considered as a base for obtaining limited assurance, not reasonable assurance. assurance or positive assurance. However, in some instances, the accountant may become concerned that the information is incorrect, incomplete, or otherwise unsatisfactory. Okay, that once the author expresses his opinion or formed that his opinion based on two types only of the evidence, the one analytical procedures and inquiry management, okay, may the author concern about this information may be incorrect, may be complete, may be unsatisfactory, and so on. So, the author may conduct other procedures, okay, may perform other procedures to accumulate more evidence, okay, to obtain limited assurance before issuing his review surface report. And looking at the auditor or accountants become aware that non-compliance with law or regulation or fraud may have occurred, the accountant should communicate this matter as soon as applicable to the appropriate level of management or those concerning of the corporate governance. For review services, the author will perform review reports. Okay, form that of reports will contain four types or four paragraphs. Okay, the form of report or review report. Okay, the contains the two paragraphs. The first one, introductory paragraph. The introductory paragraph will includes the financial statements be reviewed, okay, not audited, sure. Okay, the author will identify the financial statements and the period of financial statement, which method or procedures, okay, that would be used to form his opinion, okay, medical procedures and medical procedures that ممكن and requires of management. According to introductory paragraph, that the author will identify the entity and the period of financial statements subject to the review. Okay, and explicitly notes that the accountant has conducted a review instead of audit. Okay, that must be clear in introductory paragraph. The first paragraph also includes the statement that the review primarily consists of medical procedures and inquiries and substantial less than scope than an audit. Okay, that must be expressed clearly to stakeholders. Okay. At the same time, that take care that once the author will review the financial statement, that will express his opinion, okay, and they decide whether the financial statement, okay, has no material change to financial statements are needed to be fairly presented, okay, but it's the main expression that in the main conclusion, okay, of the of review the financial statement, as we will see looking at the last paragraph. The second paragraph is called management responsibility for the financial statements. So, the author will identify the responsibility of management. Okay, but the management is responsible for preparing financial statements, and the financial statements must be presented fairly. That the management should maintain, design, and implement effective internal control structure over financial reporting, and so on. In the second paragraph, the author will identify the management responsibility. Okay, that is besides that management responsibility for the preparation and the fairness of financial statements, maintain, design, implement effective internal control structure over preparing the financial statement. The third paragraph in the review report, okay, is called the accountant's responsibility. Okay, after identifying the management responsibility, the auditor will identify the audit or CBA firm responsibilities. Okay, in the author responsibility to express his opinion. Okay, an author responsibility to form his opinion to identify whether the financial statements are fairly presented or the financial statement and the financial statement statements don't need any modifications to be fairly presented in accordance with applicable financial reporting standards. Okay, so the third paragraph notes that the accountant's responsibility is to conduct a review of management's financial statements in accordance with standards on statements for accounting and the review services. At the same time, those standards require accountants to perform certain procedures to obtain limited assurance. Okay, to express his opinion, should he will accumulate evidence based on two types of evidence, okay, inquiries of management and analytical procedures, okay, to obtain limited assurance, okay, and express or form his opinion whether the financial statements are materially misstated or not, okay, or the financial statements financial statements not booking includes the booking has no financial statement have no booking any material modifications, okay, no material modification booking that should be made to a financial statement to be fairly presented. The last paragraph, the fourth paragraph, which is called that booking accountant's conclusion, the author will express his opinion, limited assurance concerning to the financial statement, fairness of financial statements. The author will prepare booking this paragraph by expressing his opinion, where that we are not aware of any material modifications that should be made to to financial statements or its related and its related news. Okay, in order for for them to be in conformity with applicable financial reporting standard or accounting standard. This book the content of review paragraph. Also the review that report must be dated. Okay, so the date of review report should be date on which the accountant and accumulated review evidence sufficient to provide a reasonable base for a report conclusion. Okay, as audit as conducting the audit that already ended or the date of of audit report once the author accumulated sufficient evidence and formed the opinion. Okay. Take care of that concerning to review reports. Each page of the financial statements reviewed should include reference. Okay, that see independent accountants review report. Okay, and must be that signed as in this financial statements unaudited. Okay, just mean the auditor review the financial statements, but didn't didn't conduct the audit. This book is just example that of the review report. Okay, contains the 4 paragraphs. The first one that independent accountants review report. This book the title. Okay, the first paragraph as introductory paragraph. For example, we have review with not conducting the audit. Okay, but now review with the accompanying financial statements, okay, of a company technology, okay, which comprises the balance sheet, related financial statements, okay, related financial statements, balance sheet statements of income statements, change in stockholders, cash flow statements for the year ended. So, the author will identify the financial statement and the year for conducting or identify the year to review the financial statements. Okay. At the same time, the author will confirm that he will conduct a review instead of audit. A review includes primarily applying the analytical procedures to management financial data, okay, and inquiries of management. Okay, a review is substantially less in scope. That must be mentioned in that introductory paragraph. Okay, to inform the stakeholders, okay, but the review report or review services is less than in general in scope or in assurance provided to them present on reviewing financial statements. So a review is substantially less in scope than an audit, the objective of which is the expression of opinion regarding the financial statement as a whole and so on. The second paragraph, management responsibility for financial statements. The author will identify the management responsibility. Management is responsible for preparing and fair presentation of financial statements in accordance with applicable financial reporting standard, for example, US GAAP. Okay, this includes design and implement and maintain effective internal control or relevant internal control over preparing the financial statements or preparing fair presentation of financial statements. The last paragraph, the third paragraph, that accountant's responsibility or external author responsibility. Okay, our responsibility is to conduct the review engagement in accordance with statements on standards. Okay, for accounting judgment and review. In addition to the standards required to perform the procedures to obtain limited assurance as the base for reporting whether the financial statement, we are aware of any material modifications that should be made to make the financial statements fairly presented or accordance with applicable financial reporting. The last paragraph, accountant's conclusion or expressing his opinion concerning to the financial statements. Based on our review, we are not aware of any material modifications. That means the financial statements are fairly presented, and we didn't receive any red flag that we didn't receive that any indications, okay, that the financial statements required to be modified, okay, to be fairly presented. That means we are not aware of any material modifications required, okay, to any material modifications that should be made to financial statements in order to make them prepared in accordance with applicable financial reporting. Okay, this is the end of the first lecture. So that we will continue in the next one. Okay, to make some practice concerning to the review services. Okay, for the previous one, okay, that would be considered as a standardized or standard review report. Okay, there is no any modifications here, but would be expressed by the external author in reviewing the financial statements. Later, or the second, next lecture, we will talk about the failure to follow applicable financial reporting standard or financial reporting framework, and the author's how to audit express his opinion or his conclusion in case of the management already didn't follow the applicable accounting framework or failed to follow the applicable framework. Okay, how the procedures that will be taken by the auditor to express his opinion in case of the management couldn't follow applicable financial reporting and so on. And we will see some examples. Okay, and we will focus on review of interim financial information for public companies. We will talk about in more details, and we'll see the scope of review. Okay, how to review the interim financial statements. Okay, and how to the difference between review of review of interim financial statements and audits. Okay, and so on. We will talk about these items in more details in next lecture. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time.